I am writing this because it was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. Just to begin, I have always been interested in stuff about nuclear war. And I joined a forum about it. One of the members I became friends with, I'm not going to give you his screen name because I don't want people to find me or it. He said he had something for me that was made around late 2013 to early 2014. It involved the long-running YouTube series SML. If you don't know, SML was a plush series that featured Mario characters and puppets doing random stuff. We agreed to meet. And we met at my local cafe. Now, I have disabilities to the point that I can't have a driver's license. So we agreed to meet up at the local cafe. When we did, he explained that he doesn't know who made it, and he gave it to me. He left in a hurry rather quick. It was a USB drive, and when I got home, I put it into my TV and turned it on. The file name was smlexplode.mp4. The video began with no introduction, no nothing, it just went straight in. It showed a nuclear bomb hitting the street that Logan used to live on in his mother's house. The explosion was loud and it was very fast. That's when it cut back to the street after that. Hundreds of puppets laid on the street, dead. Some of them were main characters like Patrick and, the others. Cut inside and it showed the living room. The couch was turned over and laying there were the bodies of some of the birds from Black Yoshi and the Birds. Most of them, minus Red. Then it cut. After showing the wreckage, it then cut to a scene of the bathroom. There was a fire in it. Pan inside and Shrek was inside. Dead. It panned back out. It cut back to the street. Joseph was crawling in the street, obviously in pain. He turned to the camera and half of his face was burnt off. It cut back to the house and it showed the kitchen. It was a wreck. A bit of the ceiling had collapsed, crushing Toad underneath it. Woody was also there. He was laying down in pieces of rubble, and it seemed like that he was alright, but kind of hurt. Red, the angry bird, was on the counter, looking left and right, almost as if he was scared. He seemed to be okay, minus a few burn marks, but he seemed to be alright. Then it cut to Junior. Junior was laying on the carpet. He was pale and his hair had fallen out right in front of him. His hair was scattered in front of him. The whites in his eyes were gone, meaning that he was obviously blind. He had vomited right on the carpet behind him as he was moaning and crying, asking for Cody or Joseph or Bowser. He then found a burnt Thomas and hugged it for at least a minute. Mercifully, the scene was short. Cut back out onto the street and Cody's house was on fire. Inside one of the windows was Tyrone was in Judy's arms, obviously dead. Judy sobbed for at least a minute before then hysterically bawling her eyes out. The scene was short, and After that, it cut back to the house. Inside the basement were Black Yoshi, Mario, Cody, and Chef Pee-Pee. They sat there for about a minute. I swear to God, this scene lasted 5 minutes. Some of them had looks of shock, confusion, and as for the case of Black Yoshi, some were even crying. They looked down for at least a minute, for at least another minute or so before then cutting back to the house. There was some more wreckage inside the house, but it cut to Bowser's room. Bowser was inside his room. His eyes were fused shut. He looked around for at least a minute before then banging on his door, screaming for Mario. The scene was mercifully short. Cut back to the street, and Officer Goodman was outside. Half of his head was blown off, and his other eye was dangling down. He had broken his legs, and it seemed like he had crashed his car. He crawled up the steps before then collapsing on the ground. He then started violently shaking as if having a seizure and started foaming at the mouth. Cut back to the shelter. Chef Pee-Pee got up and turned a boombox on. On the radio, he turned it to a radio station. Brooklyn Guy's voice came on. He sounded more scared than I've ever heard him in any other videos. He sat there for Brooklyn Guy began to speak. Breaking news. An atomic bomb has hit Colorado. And if you don't know, an atomic bomb is a really big and really bad bomb that could wreck a whole city. And it also has something bad called radiation, which could really hurt you if you're close to it. For some reason, our TV cameras aren't working. Gamma, I assume. So I found an old radio stations. So I found the old recording booth for our local radio station, and I am using it. All I do know is that this was a complete accident. Whoever launched the missile had no clue of what he was doing. And because of it, thousands of lives are possibly at risk. This is Brooklyn. I will get back to you. I will get back to any of you listening if I can find any more information or anybody else who knows anything. This has been Brooklyn Tea Guy, signing off. Chef Pee-Pee turned the boombox off. It ended right there. No SML question of the day, no nothing. Update. To anyone who's asking me if you can watch it, the answer is no. Stop emailing me about it. And even at 22 years of age, this was unnerving. I haven't contacted the guy who gave it to me since. And to anyone who wants answers, or who did this, the answer is, I don't know. But even if I did, I still wouldn't tell you.